Hobbs informs Morgan, who was the prosecutor, that he anticipated a successful criminal prosecution, but that any decision regarding Wither's proposal to Morgan was Morgan's to make. Morgan decided to continue to go forward. And they said that that was not a conflict, that that was the prosecutor's decision to make. And you're saying using, well, in your case, there's a came to you and said, we're willing to give you a plea. And you said no, which is perfectly fine. But then you said, well, they want to extend prosecution on my client. They were willing to cut it off. And so the case that you signed is totally opposite than what the situation that you're dealing with. How would you say that you have a conflict in this case? Based on this case, you're saying just based on this case. That was your first case that you cited in your brief. The first was actually a federal case, but the first Georgia case you cited was what? On this particular issue.
Right, on this particular issue.
Correct.
And again, I don't have what we're information. There's a lot of different facts about these cases that I cannot be determined and let you know. But what I can tell you is
Talking to the mic, shorty.
And we still believe that this is to expand the litigation. And even if it's minor, if the law says over $100, that's enough to have a partial interest. So what we've got is we've got these financial disclosures where they're not being truthful, as well as lying under oath, which is the same thing my client is charged with. It's lying under oath without receiving the benefit of the law. So you've got this concerted effort, which we have seen unfortunately drag out over the last couple months, this concerted effort to hide this information. I think that it is very reasonable for the court to think that that is a conflict of interest. And whether or not it's a stake in the conviction, a stake in the prosecution, definitely we've seen a stake in the prosecution. And Whitworth, the problem with Whitworth, this is
Who actually brings the case?
well,
How do they get the case?
well, we know a lot more now because of the book Find Me the Votes. So we know a lot more than we normally would know. So, and that's one of the things that I talk about in my motion. In this case, it was actually Nathan Wade. So he's the one that he presented most of the witnesses.
How was your client charged? How?
So my client was charged with an actual grand.
Okay, so grand jury. Okay, so we had a special grand jury, and then you had a grand jury. They made this determination.
Yes.
They made the determination to bring charges, to indict, correct?
Yes, and I.
So are they part of all of this?
No. But I've never had the privilege of being inside of a grand jury, but I have heard a lot about what happens inside of a grand jury. It is a witness who comes, and in this case, it was actually an investigator for the DA's office. So just understand this.
My apologies to the bumpity bump.
I have had
Welcome. Appreciate you riding with me as I make my way through hump day. You heard?
actually had to wear a key on it by accident.
Hey, my bad though. How we sound? Everything sound good out there?
What'd you think?
You don't mind if you in the clouds?
Prosecutor draw the accusations.
No.
So the grand jury.
I know you guys have a bill doing that right now.
I enjoy either way.
You know,
We riding around NYC.
the grand jury's better than no oversight.
Enjoy the view.
Definitely. But it's a continuum. So like
We're listening to Fannie Willis, the district attorney. Well, one of the
I'm not allowed to be perfect.
you know, the DA from Fulton County, her disqualification hearing.
They only
Oh yeah, they boogie.
So and then hearsay. So in this case, using it as an example, the investigator for the DA's office listened to all the January 6th testimony, read all the testimony, went in there and summed it up for the grand jury. They present the grand jury doesn't draw the indictment. They actually, the prosecutor brings that indictment, and then they vote, and it's a majority. So all they have to do is a majority vote, and it's by a very low standard, it's a probable cause, which is about 25% proof. So you've got hearsay, you've got a witness who hasn't actually witnessed anything personally, you've got a standard of 25%. I think there should be much more safeguards on the grand jury process personally, but that's for another day.
So you went through a special grand jury and they made their recommendations. They went to a grand jury and they, of course, made their recommendations. And how many persons have actually pled in this particular case? 2 or 3
And
already.
they were lawyer. Well, there was one. So the first gentleman who pled, he was a bondsman, and he was not, because of the state law for bonding agents. He's not able to actually run his business while he's on bond. So he had a significant financial interest in entering early on because he was essentially couldn't work if he didn't enter early. And I mean, he got probation. You know, it was not exactly not what you would imagine in a huge racketeering case. You would not imagine probation and a $5,000 fine. The other two people that are both lawyers, lawyers at the end of their career, and I can imagine when I'm close to retirement and I have my retirement funds, if I would want to spend them on a criminal trial or spend them seeing my grandchildren, I would spend them seeing my grandchildren.
One of the things we've been talking about is Mr. Wade's kind of qualifications. So,
Yes.
but you did mention early on that he was very instrumental in the special grand jury process. So he's been there. He's been part of this process.
Oh, you can see that by his bills, yes.
Right. Other than just his bills, you said that you recognize that he's been part of the process. So even though he's very, I guess, what everyone's saying is inexperienced, he was able to go to a special grand jury and get their positive recommendations, I guess, from the state side. He's able to go to a grand jury and get indictments, which positive for the state side. And he's actually had some persons actually plead guilty. So this inexperienced former assistant solicitor, I mean, he's not doing too bad, is he?
That would be up for dispute. I mean, if you want to talk about his qualifications and whether I think he's qualified, I'm happy to talk about
No,
that.
I'm just saying, when you say that someone's totally unqualified, that's basically what's been going on. It's very surprising that he's able to go to a special grand jury. You say he's integral in
That's
that.
not surprising.
And he's going to go into a grand jury, you say he's integral in that. Then why even say that he's unexperienced? And he's getting people to plead guilty. But basically you're saying those are just lawyers that don't want to do anything anymore. They just plead their clients guilty.
No,
I understand.
No. So the special purpose grand jury, first of all, remember
yes,
my
yeah.
client was not recommended as far as that.
I understand.
The special purpose grand jury, I've had the opportunity to read a lot of the transcripts from that. It's direct examination. So you're bringing a witness in and you're talking and you're saying, tell me what happened. So he did that along with Mr. Wooten, and he never did it all by himself. He definitely led it, but Mr. Wooten asked a lot of questions, and there were some other prosecutors in and out, but he was always there. But that, I mean, special purpose grand jury is really just to investigate and get testimony.
I understand.
So it's not.
But when a person's trying to insinuate that somebody's basically totally unqualified, it is important to realize that they walked this case to this particular point. Very complicated case, I imagine.
I mean, that's something that we can debate. If walking someone through the grand jury, the special purpose grand jury, is complicated or not. Asking questions, and again, there's a team of 10 lawyers.
So that's a team of 10 lawyers.
Who knows what part he's doing? But the question would be then, why
That
him?
sounds
Why not all of
crazy.
the public servants who are taking government salaries and restricted in their private law practice? Why do they need him there when there's all these other people? As far as the qualifications, asking questions in a special purpose grand jury in and of itself, I mean, there's no opponent, there's no adversary, there's no judge.
Once it became adversarial, you've had persons start pleading. And maybe more potentially, correct? Possibly. But we'll find out. But let me ask you this, though. Because you were talking about the staff. One of the reasons you may go outside of outside counsel could be the fact that if you actually put this type of case within the office, just speculating, but to some extent we all are, the office would basically shut down. It's a potential that the DA's office would actually basically shut down.
Oh God, no! If you took the $1 million that he's been paid, you could hire 5 lawyers.
You could do that, but how long would you be able to keep them? In other words, if you hired 5 new inexperienced ADAs, they're not tackling this case. And also,
Well, the inexperienced ADAs are not going to make
he's going to-
$200,000. So if you're hiring inexperienced ADAs, you'd probably be able to hire 20. But that's not what.
But the key thing is, that job that you're talking about that you're going to hire with that,
Yeah,
with the
my-
million that you'd have paid him,
My son
if
lawyer.
that's your theory on it, that's not going to stay. That's not necessarily going to be long term if you're just you're just saying the money you paid him, you could have done this. Because his is a short term kind of situation. His is a contract, so it's short term. It's not a long term contract. It's not going to last for a person's career. So I understand the back and forth where persons were saying, well, they can use this money for that. But that money was delegated for him on the short term project, so to speak. So it's not anything that a person would come in long term and actually necessarily do. But at the same time, that would be up to the district attorney to make that decision, how she's doing that. I just make the point that so far, from a district attorney standpoint, I would say that they probably believe that so far the case is successful. And we can argue about what's qualified and what's not, but certainly I think that they would argue at this point the case has gone from a successful pattern for somebody that's been denigrated and said it's totally unqualified. I did want to go into How much was the money? Go ahead. Thank you.
Was that a question? Because I'd like to respond if it is.
Yes.
Okay. I took notes because there were a couple different questions in there. So the first one, you said about how much money. So Ms. Willis had stated that it would be between $3 or $4 million to actually pay Mr. Wade completely to prosecute this case. So you'd be able to hire a number of prosecutors. Some of them do come and go, but most of the prosecutors we've seen on this case have been there since the beginning. So, unfortunately, these cases take time, so people may leave. You also asked me about that this money was delegated for this, and I just wanted to make sure that my testimony was accurate. This money was never delegated for this. The county did not ever delegate this. The county was not involved in that at all. Ms. Willis is the one that decided. And there's no budget. There's no transparency at all on this.
She does the contract with him, and I believe you showed those contracts. So in that sense, it's delegated to him because that contract can end at any time. She could say, "Hey, the contract based," because he works at her pleasure.
Oh, yes.
So that contract can actually end at any time. That would be the point.
At her pleasure, huh?
On the trips, how much total were the trips?
That was a choice use of words.
And I think it was about 17,059. But even if we just say 20,000, what was the average cost of each one of those trips? Well,
unfortunately, they did not provide all of the records, so I can't tell you exactly. All I can tell you is what Mr. Wade charged on his credit cards. I can't tell you. Most of it was paid in cash, so there's no record. So I wish I could tell you, but
going by your slide, one was 3,335, one was 4,453.
Which one? Hold on, I want to make sure I'm clear on each.
You had 6 trips.
Okay, but which trip are you talking? Well, you said one is 3,000 something. I want to make sure I'm clear.
Yeah, put it back up for me, please.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
So the first one, Royal Caribbean, 3,335, Aruba, 4,453, and the next one, next two. How would that compare? I mean, what is that so unusual on price points as far as trips are concerned?
No, I mean I don't think so. The Royal Caribbean, so I can
Not
tell you.
about the price of the trips.
Royal Caribbean, I specifically kept
About
out the
the
money that he spent on
circumstances
his
in
mom's
which the
cabin.
trips occurred.
So they had 2 cabins. His mom had a cabin. They had an ocean for
And the
Bahamas.
parents
I think
of said
the balcony's
trips.
probably
That's the meaning of this
but I don't know
hearing.
the owners. Flew comfort class, not unnormal for a lawyer.
Homeboy lawyering out. He
The
lawyering. He getting
average
busy
American
too.
spends on vacation.
You know, sharp boy, dude.
Looked.
No,
Glasses,
I
he's
haven't. But I
sharp.
would imagine most of the Fulton County taxpayers would love to go on any of these trips.
Well, if you, since you speculate a lot, I could speculate and say that you did look. And that's why you put it in your brief.
Brother
Because
is
Forbes
busy in
actually
that.
says
He in Atlanta,
average
Fulton
is
County too. He get busy.
$37 that a person spends on a vacation.
For a single person or a family?
Family of 4. Well, at that time, they were taking 2 and 3 at the time.
That makes
so
sense.
That makes, that's
no, hold on. I want to make sure that's clear. You said they were taking 2 or 3 at a time. All of these, I made very certain that my numbers only included the 2 of them. So the one trip that they took
But
his
it's
mother on,
2 adults.
2 adults,
It's
yes.
nothing extraordinary.
So you said 3,700 for a family of 4. That does not surprise me. For families that can't afford to go on vacations, does not surprise me.
So it's basically what the average American would do.
So that's
Yes.
this is. So you said 3,700 for a family of 4. This is for 2 people.
So it wouldn't necessarily be lavish. It's 2 adults. Bottom line is it's not extravagant. It's not lavish, is it?
The law only says $100. So
But it's not lavish.
That's one of the reasons I didn't include all the Ubers. I quite frankly didn't want to do the math. But there were a ton of Ubers on each of these trips. There was a hotel at the beginning of the Royal Bahamas. I didn't include that. I didn't want to do the math, and I also did not want to.
And how much does Ms. Willis make?
200 and something thousand a year.
Here come the
So
rain.
your argument is
Supposed to be
the
buckets
person who
coming.
makes $200,000 a year is actually setting up
Here
prosecutions
it come.
to go on a trip that costs $3,500.
Man, everybody on time too.
Not in isolation. I mean, you're talking about in isolation.
They
No, I'm not
getting real,
talking about isolation.
they
I'm
getting
talking
real
about
accurate with these weather machines.
What else you can expect?
With these
I'm
weather-
just talking about what's in brief
weather
that says
weapons.
this is
What they
the
call
benefit
them?
that she got. And all
Direct
I'm saying
energy
is
weapons that affect the
I'm
weather.
a person who's making $200,000.
They're getting accurate
And the benefit
and
that
good.
you put it into the briefs, not what you may say that you may find elsewhere, but the benefit in the briefs is I go on a trip for $3,300, $4,400. And they have made up all these prosecutions that go on a 3-day cruise for $3,300. I mean, that's your argument. That's your argument. That's your argument.
That's not.
That's in the brief.
That's not our argument. So we did
What
argue
else is
for
in the
about
brief?
3 hours.
What else is in the brief?
what else is in the brief?
Yes.
A lot of facts, a lot of law.
No, as far as actual financial benefit.
So the financial benefit that I put in the brief was what I could prove. I did not want to have any, as you call it, speculation. I did not want to speculate about anything else. So I did not know if Mr. Wade paid for an Uber that Miss Willis was literally sitting in at the same time. You can kind of assume, because it's from the airport to the hotel, but I did not want to speculate to that. So I didn't include those in the numbers. So the hard numbers in here are all of these numbers that are on trips. Yes, the ones that I actually had hard numbers that I
Yeah, he a slick lawyer, but she
yes, that's in the
In our business, we deal with
she a diligent lawyer.
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
person
Yes.
That
is
data
doing all of this.
data trumps
Oh, yeah.
slick
so,
any
so
day.
what I included was what I had the actual hard proof
But
of.
we'll see.
And then some of it's attached to the brief, some of it I got by subpoena. So some of it is actually exhibits that were admitted. I think I submitted to you all the certified business records from a couple different travel agencies. Those are actually admitted. And there were a lot of other receipts that I had that I did not know for sure if they were joined, and so I didn't include those. And I haven't
And
talked
you
about it
should.
today.
Correct.
Exactly.
That's correct.
I 100% agree.
So this is what we're dealing with.
Yes, you're dealing with stuff
Okay.
that's hard proof.
Correct. Okay. So my next question then becomes on the conflict as far as his salary is concerned. Just curious. Is it the amount of salary that you really creates the conflict? I mean, because we get stuck on money a
the
lot. So
relationship,
it's the amount of salary that gets,
the money.
is creating this conflict in your mind.
No,
Or
it's
is
the
it just the
fact
fact
that
that he gets any salary at all?
No, it has nothing to do with that. I did not make any allegations against Mr. Floyd or Ms. Cross. It's the fact that they were sleeping together and he was paying for trips for them to go on, and they were hiding it from the taxpayers.
Let's just discuss that.
That's
So, if there's not a trip, then you don't believe there's a conflict.
Oh, I do, because of the Fulton County laws. The laws say that they
I'm
can.
talking. I don't understand the county code. So I'm talking as far as like
Slick, boy.
what the case law says, which what the judge is actually going to. If there's no, if they're not hiding that or against the Fulton County ordinances,
They were hiding it, though.
do you believe that there's a conflict? If they brought it out and said, "Hey, we dating,"
Nah,
is it a
son, but
conflict
that's
in
not
your
it.
mind?
That's not what we
They
talking
only
about,
brought it out
homeboy. You
one
slick.
time, alleged
Think
it,
you slick,
and
my guy.
liar.
You ain't that slick.
What I'm saying is that they brought it out. Would it be a conflict?
You
in your mind?
arguing
It was a
oranges.
conflict.
We talking about apples.
And what would be the conflict?
So, in a perfect world, what you're asking
He trying to
is
mislead,
if
shorty.
Ms. Willis
She
had
a
gone to the
lawyer,
Board
son.
County Commissioners and said, I am having an affair with this man, but he is brilliant and he would be
That's not a mere
easy
mortal,
prosecutor on
homeboy.
this election interference case. Can I have an appropriations of $3 million and I will get it done? And she had said, and I'm going to go on vacations with him and we're going to date and we're actually going to go home to the safe house that Fulton County's paying for and he's going to be here for 4 hours at night. If she had said all that and they had given what they gave in Exhibit J, knowing that, Exhibit J, we wouldn't be here.
So then your client actually has no conflict because that would still exist. Your client has no hard conflict then. There's no actual conflict. It doesn't matter if you disclose a conflict. If you disclose a conflict, it still exists. And that's exactly what they said in one of the cases that you cited. If a person says, I got a conflict, but I'm still going to testify against you. I know I represent
Oh,
you,
man,
and I have a
drive,
conflict,
son.
and I'm going to go testify against you. Conflict is not over. Absolutely not. If you have an actual conflict where your client is harmed, just because they disclose it doesn't end that conflict. So what you're describing is not a conflict at all. You're just saying, I caught somebody, so therefore I'm going to create something and call it a conflict. You cannot waive a conflict like that. You just couldn't. If your client is, you could not do that for your own client. If your client is actually suffering harm, as far as how the prosecution is taking place, because that's what a conflict is. Just because she says, oh, I'm doing these things, you're not going to go to your client and say, you actually have an actual
Maybe
harm.
he is
but
slick
she said,
enough.
So we're going to still go forward.
Oh,
That
no.
makes absolutely no sense.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Yeah, boy.
You don't have a conflict. If you're saying if she disclosed it, it would go away. Then there is no conflict.
No. I did not say that. I said we would not be here if that happened.
Right, because you wouldn't claim there's a conflict.
No, because we wouldn't be here because it violates so many of the Fulton County statutes and ordinances and state statutes that we wouldn't be here because it wouldn't be
But if she disclosed it, not the way you said it, but if it was disclosed, it's disclosed now. What is the conflict?
Undisputed facts. The facts that we all, your side, my side.
How's your client harmed? That's my question.
I'm not trying to answer your see, but we can't. And so Mr. Wade was in the grand jury. He should not have been there. He should not have been appointed. Had the Board of County Commissioners known all of the facts of the case, he would never have been appointed to this case. So we can't now speculate as to what could have happened.
What case law do you point to prove that?
Oh, the statutes. It's
not Fulton County statute. I'm asking Georgia Court of Appeals, Georgia Supreme Court. Is there any case that says that? And it's not.
No, it's really surprising, honestly, because can you imagine this happening? I mean, honestly, in December, would you have imagined? I think most people would.
All sorts of conflicts are taken up by the Court of Appeals.
I can tell you, I have found some cases in other jurisdictions, but I have never found a case in Georgia where, and mind you, this only happens in Fulton County. So we're talking about Fulton County cases where there would be a special prosecutor appointed, because it's the only place that this happens. So otherwise, maybe the AG. So you're talking about a prosecutor sleeping with the person that she is appointing to do this work, paying that amount of money, not getting county approval, not filing.
Or is he earning the money because he's actually billing hours because he's prosecuting?
Earning the money, son?
I mean, I don't.
He's billing hours because he's prosecuting.
Lawyers, man. That's what I'm
case for
talking
grand jury indicted.
I would hope.
You hear you, man? He's really in the court. I mean,
but I don't know.
Oh, let me say my commentary. My bad.
In that sense, he's earning money for a case that
They're on a bumpy Manhattan Bridge.
Indicted, and that's where we are.
You're correct. She is not paying him Fulton County tax money.
As they pay every prosecutor, as they pay every public defender, every government official, every citizen.
Employees, yes.
And that he's part of that process. And he's prosecuting a case that you're involved in, correct? He's prosecuting, and he's been integral in that prosecution. And you said that.
I mean, he has been very involved. Integral to me means that he is necessary.
So you're getting close.
Yes, sir. I just had one last question, and that was, in the case that you cited, it clearly says,
Which case?
in Whitworth versus State, it clearly says, the prosecutor should see no unfair advantage in taking advantage of the accused. That creates the conflict. What unfair advantage has he done in this case?
And you've asked me a lot of questions about Whitworth. I would love a chance to read it if you have a few minutes, just so I can actually respond. I don't have it in front of me, and there's a lot of cases out there, and I want to make sure I respond.
Try.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do me a solid.
Just one of those people visual.
The like button for your boy.
Thank you.
While she's looking at this, we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes.
Yeah, we coming to the end of this set. Probably I'll end up cutting this.
And get information.
Once I park, I'm gonna end up clipping.
Each senator on the committee has a separate.
Damn, son, I ain't even got it right now, my guy.
Business.
You be good though, man.
Simply the last name.
Hey, love, man.
In my case, it would be counselor.inv@senate.ga.gov. INV, obviously, for investigation.
Hey, yo, son.
So each
Yo, meet me. I'm gonna pull over there. Yeah, I got a couple of sandwiches. I'm gonna pull over there. I got you. Yeah, I'm bugging, son. I do. I got some fresh sandwiches from the hospital. I got you. Hit me across the joint. I'm gonna pull over there.
Email address for this purpose would be cook.inv@senate.
Yeah, I got you right here, fam.
We've had a number of citizens that have reached out and wanted to provide information or be heard or, testify possibly in front of this committee. We are encouraging anybody that has input or information that might be helpful to us to provide it to a committee member. Ideally to cook.inv@senate.ga.gov, because Secretary Cook will provide it to all committee members. We don't have a next meeting scheduled yet. Maybe, a couple of weeks away.
Nice fucking sandwich. Yeah, because you know what I'm thinking. I'm like, oh, damn. I'm like, oh. Oh, yeah. What you want, chicken salad? The chicken's the best one. Yeah, I got you on two of those. You know, peanut butter or been, yeah.
I'm so glad. So this is more
You good, for sure, man. You good out here. Yeah.
I remember this now.
Yeah,
So,
the chicken, I'm about to scoop to myself. The chicken was busting.
He took employment later on. So the employment is different in our case.
Yeah.
Because he took employment later
Yeah, I have to hear Steve off for a little bit. I'm bugging. I'm like, yo. Because normally that's what I. But anyway, yeah. I was zoned out. So yeah, I'm about to dub it down once I park up, but I appreciate everybody that was in the building. You know, I'm still new to this. It's obvious if you see the content, I'm not afraid to show my face. But it's just that I'm working. And I don't even, you know what I mean? Real life. I be having ill, my rested face don't be the cutest.
So that's what
Everybody slip up.
He took a job later.
Do a Bismarcky, you dig? But it's all up, man. I'm out here, I'm gonna try to, you know what I'm saying, keep the content light. This Fanny, this is wild, it's wild. But yeah, I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Hit the like button for me if you can, if you don't mind. If you're in the clouds, I don't prescribe for me and my situation, because I'm a chat boxer. When I'm not active in the chat, I consider it being in the clouds. Because nothing funny entails getting dirty. I do my best try not to be dirty. But nah, just being funny. But yeah. But nah, thank you everybody that's in there, man. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate y'all. I got a big weekend coming up. The Lowlives, they got a situation happening on St. John's in Utica. This weekend, I will be out there with the camera. I got a lot of shooting going on. I'm trying to crash another situation, catch some red carpet footage. And I'm going to, my sons have a karate tournament on Sunday. So, a lot of photography going on for me. Hopefully, I will produce some behind the scenes footage. And, you know, have a good time. Enjoy the weekend, be safe. But, yeah. I think my next live, I'll probably go later on today on my ride to Staten. But I greatly appreciate everybody tapping into the content and, you know, subscribing and, well, you know, all that growth is appreciated. I definitely not taking it for granted. Because we can't be everywhere and do everything at once, and no time you spend, can't get it back. So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, enough of the sob stories, the sappy stuff. Let's get to some.
Her return where she filed it under oath. It says, it specifically says if you've got something over $100, you have to disclose it.
Brooklyn Supreme Court right there. That's it. Brooklyn Supreme.
It says pursuant to section 2-70
Big.
of the Fulton County Code of Ethics, that
some place I choose not to be. We can ride by it freely. Yeah. I hope it sounds, I might have to buffer it and put some things with plastic and rub it. It's all good, I'll figure it out. I'll just play it back.
Knows or should know is seeking official action. We're seeking to do doing business with the county. So obviously that would apply.
Okay. And failing to respond to your open records request and potentially giving false testimony under oath if your version of facts is proven to be true.
Yes.
has seen an ongoing prosecution and her prosecutorial strategy and indictment.
Once again, if you're gonna go after the king, you can't miss. You can't have dirty work in your background. And from what I'm hearing, the way she was operating as district attorney,
It's out there. It was published. You know.
Is that a violation of that?
allegedly she could be looking at some charges amongst this department, because this whole shenanigan,
About the guilt of
that's all disbarable,
Yes,
that's all
and we allege that
disbarment worthy material.
misconduct. It's very
From where I'm
surprising
sitting.
talking, you know,
Who could trust her? How can you trust her? The district attorney.
But that look, also, we talked about it.
This is the world we in.
Because it goes into a lot of details about
And we
what
wonder why.
As well as had prior to becoming DA. And so, you know, it talks about that a lot.
She was elected, people. People voted for her.
I have no idea. But I know her dad
Fulton
was-
County, Georgia. I am
He
good.
was district attorney's office, and was interviewed for it as
On
well. And I
Fulton
think that
County,
was when
Georgia.
her dad first learned that she had dated Mr. Reed, I think. But I may be wrong. Or maybe that's the first
And-
time he
and-
met, something like that.
And this led from
willingness to
discovering that she first was sleeping with the
document you provide.
some other rapper in Atlanta's cruise members, peoples, that she now has a RICO case against the rival. What are we talking about? My bad. Oh, so that's done. So yeah, they off that scenery. So yeah, that all stemmed from the fact that it came out that she was, I don't know these people's names, but one of the rappers that was in opposition to YSL, that came out, and then they just, I guess once you smoke this fire, you dig, right? And that digging led to more, and now we here. And like I said, Friday they closed out. They closed out it was closing arguments Friday. Where we at? Wednesday? And they, more evidence. Bad business. Wow. Yee! They ran. So shooty scoop, but yeah, almost to my destination. The rain is coming. What happened? Are you not entertained? What we got going on now? So who can I now? I guess that's what we're gonna do. Who live? If somebody live, I'm gonna kill this, and then I'm not gonna double stream them. But yeah, man, I gotta get over, son. Where we going? Moron. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. And a little stalemate in the traffic, the traffic here. It's that Centos truck. So yeah. Almost to our destination. I need to find out who's on so I can matter of fact, I'm not even gonna kill. I am Gonna do what I'm doing, which is whatever I'm doing. Come on, son, let me on. Let me on, boy. Let me through. Boom, bang. Let's go. My fault.
Standardization of it was something.
You want to hear the
so
American
Congress
Congress people
passed a
lie
statute
to us?
requiring regulatory tailoring. And do you think Basel III is in
I
compliance with
addressed
that
that in my
statute?
comments too.
Let's listen to the Congress lie to us
You're right. We do need
about our
to
money and how they spending it, or how money is worth anything.
But we don't need to throw away the tailoring that's required by the law, but also that is appropriate if we're going to have a diverse banking system.
You know, the collapse of SBB was largely a story about liquidity risk and interest rate risk. Yet the focal points of Basel III are credit risk, market rate risk, and operational risk. What is your response to the criticism that the Fed should focus?
Yeah, shut it up. Oh, is it still blocking my situation? Oh, he sure is. He sure is. Can't be serious. What's your enemy? Bless up. Nothing planned, so it's just me riding quiet live. So yeah, I got a busy weekend. Low lives, Cry Heights, come through. Be out there with the camera works, letting it rock out. St. John's Red Storm. I've been saying St. John's Redmond all my life. Now I got called the Red Storm, but they've been the Red Storm for like damn near 20 years. St. John's Red Storm. Shout out to my man Van Bacon on the coaching staff with Rick Pitino out there. So we're going to see that game on Saturday. So we in the gut. Oh, did I just bust it? Oh, I just did. Right? Yeah, I just ran the damn stop sign. So, peoples, once again, thank you for coming through. I had a lot of cloud support this go around, but it is what it is. I ain't tripping. Thank you all. And we'll get up on the next one. Thank you for riding on. That's a park, family. Right, and let me tell you something. It's stinking this spot. Whoo! But yo, y'all be good.